Hello friends, and we begin with a gadget which will come in handy to those who have a lawn to take care of. To assemble this lawn mower you need a bare minimum of materials, and the kind you can find almost anywhere. The central point in this design will be an angle grinder. First of all, we need wheels with a frame for an old cart or small kind of carriage. Then we need to fasten the grinder to this frame. The author decided to use a board for this, but it can be done in different ways. If you have any good ideas, make sure to share them in the comments. Measure and saw the plank to the length we need. Then mark the holes and drill them. After we fasten the board to the frame, through the drilled holes with the help of cable ties. Cut off access to stop them from hanging pointlessly. Now, let's see it aside for a moment and start working on the grinder. First, we need to disassemble it and remove all unnecessary parts, the disc and protection. We leave only the clamping nut. For the lawn mower to work, we'll have to lock the power button with tape. Mark up space on the board for the machine and drill more holes. As you guessed, we need them in order to fix the grinder. The best way to do it is with wire. Ties in the case aren't that useful as they aren't removable. And in case you'd need to remove the machine, you won't be able to do it without some tools. Clamping the line of the desired length is what's left, and the main part of the future lawn mower is already done. What is missing is a handle. For that we can use an old stick. We fasten a corner to the board and to the corner an improvised handle. Technically you can already use it, but it would be good to add some kind of protection first. And for this role a baking sheet would be perfect. With the help of white paint, mark where you want to make a window. Drill and cut it out, then fasten it on ties, just like everything else. That's it. The mower is ready. In my opinion, it would be a bit more convenient with two handles, but in general a very useful thing. Next homemade invention isn't quite an invention, but rather a tuning. Here we are taught of how to improve a weak vacuum cleaner. On the screen you can see a model of vacuum cleaner which begins to choke and the slightest load. The author gave himself a task to make this vacuum cleaner more powerful, and he completed that task. The first thing to do is to ease the air intake. By default on the front air filter there was a very dense paper filter element. It quickly became clogged and prevented the cleaner from working normally. So, these filter elements need to be replaced with foam pieces. It's less dense and will get clogged at a much slower pace. Once we're done with the front filter, let's keep going. Now let's do the same with the exhaust of the cleaner. Change paper for foam rubber. But it is not so simple. While the paper filter didn't allow the vacuum cleaner to work due to the density, the foam rubber one will work, but dust particles will be thrown out of it back into the air and you'll be vacuuming them indefinitely. To solve this problem, the author decided to use water filtering. For a start, he cut the bottom of an aluminium pan to make it lighter. Then he designed how to mount it onto the vacuum cleaner. The pan is fastened through the holes in the handle and on the wall, but one pan and one without a bottom at that won't work as a water filter, so you'll need to put a 5-liter canister into it. Before that you'd need to cut a few holes in the canister next to the bottleneck, so that already filtered air could come out. Fill it with water. Don't forget that you can pour only half a liter. And now you need to bring the exhaust of the cleaner to it. And this thing is both easy to make and will be extremely useful. This is a tap holder. You don't need much to make it. A couple nuts and just 2 bolts. Start by threading in the center of a hitch nut so that after it could be drilled. Then we take the bolt, screw another nut on it and screw the hitch one. Now we clamp this construction in a vise and drill a hole. And that's it actually. We twist the second bolt into the nut and insert the tab. It's done. Next in line is a homemade product that can be useful to anyone trouch, probably in a less powerful execution. We'll be reviewing this homemade 100-watt flashlight. Personally, I really like it the way this one was made. The result is neat and stylish. What will we need to assemble this flashlight? The technical part was, of course, the LED of the desired power, lens with reflector, thermal paste, boost module, potentiometers, switch, shrink, processor cooler, battery connector. The battery itself too, naturally, squeaker and mini voltmeter. And for the case we'll need a coupling adapter, pipe and 2 plugs. You can find the extended list of the necessary components in the original video of the OFA by following the link in the description. Also, I won't be going in detail about current and battery calculations, all of that can be viewed there. We drill the radiator and having smeared the place of contact with the thermal paste, we fasten the LED. Now you need to show this contraption into the stub. We mark and cut everything that we need to for this purpose. Mouthing holes, a hole for the lens and holes for air circulation. Now it is time to do the electric part of the lamp. Solder the potentiometer to the booster. We connect the battery to the booster and check with a multimeter whether everything works as intended. Now we only need to prepare the case and arrange everything inside it. We work just like before. Mark, then drill, and cut off everything that is not necessary. If you're up to it, all parts of the hull can be painted. When the case is finished, we go back to the details. Place the battery and beeper in the handle of the lantern. The beeper will alert you when the minimum voltage in the battery is reached. You can also mount a small voltmeter in the cap of the handle. That seems to be all. The lantern turned out quite bright, so using it at maximum brightness would be more comfortable on the street. And the final in today's review invention will be this interesting alarm system. To make it, you'll need 4 batteries, resistors, a capacitor, a transistor, 2 switches, a piezometer and 1 relay. All the stuff you'll need to combine into this circuit. By the way, all the details of the parts can be viewed at the link to the original video in this description. First, let's figure out how the lock works and how it's open. As we see, the key raises all pins at once. A lock pick, on the other hand, raises every pin in turn in search of the desired position. It's this distinction that we'll be using. Let's start by setting the switches. The first is fixed between the 2 cylinders of the lock, so that it's closed when the lock is closed. And the second switch is set so that it closes when the pins are raised. Next we connect the switches in series and see what happens. When the lock is being opening with a proper key, the switch is closed for a very short time, so the piezometer doesn't have time to work. But if you start picking the lock with a wrong key or a lock pin, the closure time increases. Now let's add other details of the circuit and check again. This is what we get as a result. When using the original key, the switches don't have time to open the transistor, since one of them opens when the lock is opened. But if you use something else, then after the third raising on the pins, the relay lock itself. And with that if the relay was blocked, the phone deals the desired number. All what's left is to protect against drilling. It's not difficult at all. We take wire, tape and foil. The first layer of adhesive tape isolates the foil from the keys. Fasten the wires, one to the keys, the other to the foil and isolate them with another layer of adhesive tape. Solder the wires into the circuit and check. Everything works fine. Done. That's all for now. Bye.